More data is more truth. Marketing teams drown in dashboards, but still unsure what to do next. Mistake correlations and causations far too often. I think that's the biggest myth. I see this all the time, every single time actually.
I'm Joey Roberts. I'm here with Tobin Thomas, CEO of Lifesight. We spend a lot of time talking with CMOs, finance leaders, and boards about one core issue: measurement they can actually trust. Today, we're unpacking what's broken, what's changing fast, and what great marketers will do differently in the years ahead. Tobin, you ready to dive in?
I'm good to dive in.
All right. What are the measurement trends that you think are going to define the next 5 years?
The short answer, Joy, is measurement is moving from attribution to decision intelligence, right? I believe over the next 5 years, we will see a shift towards causal models, privacy-first data and forecasting. And it's not just reporting what happened, but predicting what will happen in the next, if you change the spend, right? So those are the major things which I see, which is definitely going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah.
And so what do you think is kind of a measurement myth right now that marketers still believe that will bring them out of that to make this shift?
I personally believe the biggest myth most of the marketers believe is if you have more data, is more truth. You've been a marketer, so you know for a fact that most marketing teams drown in dashboards, but still unsure what to do next. Mistake correlations and causations far too often. I think that's the biggest myth, right? So more data is not equal to more truth. That's a reality.
And that's a good point, because as you're saying, like, I have been a marketer for a very long time. And what happens when you're drowning in the data is that you can't really defend your budget. So when you're going into the CFO, so many CMOs are struggling to defend their budgets to finance. Have you seen that?
Absolutely, I do. And I'm seeing this trend actually going up right now, because earlier marketers used to own that spend, and off late what we're saying is CFOs are asking questions on and defending the ROAS and defending the CAC and so on and so forth. The most important stuff here is that marketing and finance are often working on different versions of reality. Marketing sees ROAS and attribution, but whereas finance sees revenue and focus, that doesn't match, right? So these are two different thought processes altogether, right? So I see this all the time, every single time actually.
And marketers want to trust the platform numbers because that's what the platform's giving them. But when you're in omni-channel brand, pre-enterprise, enterprise level, there's so many different moving parts that last click attribution isn't going to hold up in finance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really, really good point there. So what changed recently that makes unified measurement so urgent right now?
I personally believe the couple of things which has happened off late, right? There are especially 3 major things. The biggest one is privacy changes, channel fragmentation. I mean, most of the marketers in the earlier times could only work with a couple of channels, but today the channel fragmentation is massive, and which kind of limits attribution capabilities, and there is a lot of economic pressure. So the old playbooks weren't built for that combination. It's not built for that specific combination, right? So you have massive privacy and regulatory pressure, you have channel fragmentation, and then you have economic pressure, which is coming internally and externally, right? So internally from the finance department and externally on a lot of other variables. This is a new development. This is completely new, and marketers and the systems which they understood and which the systems that they built on is not built for this new ecosystem. So I think that's the biggest change which is happening.
Yeah, there is a shift. So it's not really that like one is replacing the other. It's building on what is already there. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
So how do you think brands should think about MMM versus attribution?
See, I don't think it's not an either or debate in my mind. It's more about sequencing. MMM decides where to invest. Attribution helps optimize within channels. And look at when incrementality kind of connects them, then the conflict stops, right? So in my mind, and I think in marketers' mind, there shouldn't be like an MMM versus attribution thought process, or should we have MMM or attribution debate. That shouldn't exist. These are completely different things. It's all about sequencing, right? So that's what the marketers should be thinking.
Yeah, that makes sense. So sequencing is all of the causal attribution that's happening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Leading to the purchase, which is all the goal. More purchase, more brand awareness. A lot of that, you brought up privacy. A lot of that comes with trustworthy measurement. So like, what does trustworthy measurement actually look like in practice and with Lifesight?
Trustworthy measurement, in my mind, should be explainable, repeatable, and stable when conditions change. If results only look good when spend goes up, that's a warning sign. Finance should believe the numbers without debate. That's trustworthy measurement, in my mind.
Yeah, that sounds like a marketer's dream, right? Finance sees the
Absolutely.
numbers.
Yeah.
Everyone trusts it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well said. So where do most incrementality efforts go off track?
See, most of the incrementality efforts goes wrong when a marketer sees it as a checkbox instead of a system. For him or her, if it is just another thing to do, so that it's a checkbox which is getting ticked, that's where it all goes downhill, right? If you do a test without context, kind of creates confusion. Incrementality works when experiments, models, and forecasting reinforce each other continuously. So it's a continuous process, right? You're not doing it like one time, you're not doing a checkbox tick. That's when it goes wrong.
Yes, absolutely makes sense. And that is where you have to have unified measurement, like a full system in place. So I think we touched on this, but looking ahead, what do you think is going to separate great marketers from average ones? And when I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about sophisticated brands and the marketing teams that run them versus brands that want to be enterprise level.
Great marketers, in my mind, will think like investors. They should and they will understand diminishing returns, demand causal evidence, plan scenarios before spending. They won't be after results which disappoint later, right? The best marketers can explain growth as clearly as finance explains profit, right? So look at what a finance person thinks. He thinks about there is a top line, that there is spend, then there is COGS, gross margins, profits, and so on and so forth. So if a marketer can explain growth the same way the finance explains profits, that's a great marketers. The great marketers from the normal ones, in my mind.
I agree. Yeah. And you put it so eloquently, but it is actually pretty complicated. And that is where Lifesight comes in and partners.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much why you built Lifesight, right?
It is. That's the sole reason, right?
Right.
It is.
And we can all be great marketers with the right partners.
Absolutely.
All right, I have some fun kind of quick questions for you. And you don't have to think, you just answer right away. You ready?
I'll try.
Okay, let's do one metric marketers should stop obsessing over.
Last click ROAS. It's comforting, but dangerously incomplete.
Agree. Incrementality in one sentence.
Growth that wouldn't have happened without the spend.
Love it. And last one is give me unified measurement just in simple terms.
Unified measurements in simple, plain English would be one honest answer to what actually worked.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the conversation, Tobin. And if you want to dive deeper into how we think about trustworthy unified measurement, you can find out more at lifesight.io. Thanks again.
Thanks, Joy.